Due to an article by Revolver News, there's a lot of talk about the FBI's involvement in the January 6th protest, which perhaps a lot of us suspected. So let's get into it. The story surrounds some of the people involved in the violent, radical, conspiracy, insurrection stuff that we've been hearing so much about for the past 5-6 months about January 6th. Members of these radical paramilitary organizations, as our media loves to call them, of the Three Percenters, the Proud Boys, and the Oath Keepers. But a lot of these key members, a lot of these guys promoting some of the most crazy stuff and promoting violence, their names are being left out of the FBI reports, being given the status of unindicted co-conspirator. In short, even though there are over 300 people who are being charged with misdemeanor trespassing and misdemeanor obstruction of a government proceeding, and while these misdemeanor offenders, first-time offenders, are being named and shamed on all the medias, the key figures, the ringleaders, are not being. Now, there's a few reasons why someone would not be charged. There's a few reasons that someone would be an unindicted co-conspirator. Now, the first option is to get immunity through a plea deal. They gave them immunity in exchange to get a bigger, more dangerous target. Now, the issue with that is we know when the plea deals started taking place. They did not begin until April 16th, which was the first plea deal. But already in the case of Thomas Caldwell, we saw on January 27th, these people were already being mentioned. These co-conspirators already had immunity. Out of 7 named people in the leadership group for January 6th, 3 of them were unindicted co-conspirators, one of whom paid for the hotel rooms which these quote-unquote terrorists stayed in that night. But also, in the case of Thomas Caldwell, the unindicted co-conspirator was the one in charge of distributing weaponry and leading the quick reaction force. So, unless they took a plea deal from an arms dealer to get one of the soldiers who wanted to use the arms, a plea deal doesn't really add up. The other 2 reasons for immunity are pragmatic concerns and evidentiary concerns. But these reasons don't make sense either. The stated goal of the DOJ is shock and awe. They are attempting to terrify people from ever attempting this again. They have stated that they want to throw the book at every person that they can. But for some reason, nearly half of the ringleaders are getting away unscathed. They're out here stacking charges so hard against grandmothers that they're never going to see the light of day again if they are found guilty. They organized the largest scale manhunt ever seen before in order to catch these people. And they have the exact same evidence against these people that they do against the other supposed leaders. They have the Facebook messages, they have the chat rooms. But they don't care. They're charging people without evidence anyway because it's part of the shock and awe. Take George Tanios, an Arabic American who the media labeled a white supremacist and blamed for the murder of Officer Sicknick, who we later figured out died of natural causes. Tanios is charged with 9 criminal offenses, totaling over 60 years in prison if found guilty. The most hefty charge being assaulting an officer with a deadly weapon, the deadly weapon being bear mace, which was in his backpack. But still, they stacked 60 years worth of charges against him because he said no, not yet, to his friend when it appeared his friend was getting a bit hostile to the police, because that's conspiracy, it's premeditation. But that's the standard of prosecution we have. So why would they not charge the ringleaders? While the protest was happening, these people were in a chat together, organizing their efforts, arranging a conspiracy, as they call it. Why is the owner of this channel, the system administrator, unnamed by the DOJ? The DOJ knows who he is. Why do they not name him as they do every other person in that chat room? The only other unnamed people are the unindicted co-conspirators. Well, actually, there's another reason why these people might be immune. They could be government agents. But that would mean that government agents, FBI agents, whatever, are infiltrating these groups, promoting violence, elevating lesser acts of violence to greater acts of violence, facilitating these people to get weapons and for these violent acts to happen, funding the entire thing, and allowing them to play out. And let us not forget that the explanation our government has given us for why these things happened, other than evil Nazi racist white supremacists, in a bipartisan congressional investigation, we did not have enough government surveillance. We did not have our intelligence agencies in there getting active enough. What is the country that we live in right now? What is the state of the government control? When political dissidents form, they form under a controlled opposition which is secretly run by the FBI. The political dissidents are led by FBI operatives into doing acts of violence or wherever they want to lead them, influencing their ideologies, what they believe, what they think are the pressing issues. The actions of these controlled political dissidents are then used as justification for the encroachment of the power of these intelligence organizations which are secretly controlling the political dissidents in the first place. The intelligence organizations, the FBI, will then team up with the Biden admin with Congress in order to further lie and push a political agenda and demonize utterly the political dissidents. The absolutely corrupt and controlled fake news media then echoes the statements of the intelligence organizations, of the Biden admin, and you, a political dissident, a conservative, a white Christian male. You wish to oppose this regime, you think that you're right, and who do you join? You join one of these organizations, which is probably owned by the FBI. This country is dead, dude.